Welcome. Hello, ladies. Hello, everyone that's here with us live and also catching this in replay land. So we are going through our Chakra Foundation series, and it has already been so impactful, and we haven't even began to uncover the power in chakra therapy and what it can really do to help heal and open up your life to what's truly possible. So I'm excited that you guys are here, that you're learning this information. Little bit about Amanda and I. I'm the founder of the Women's Connection, but we have been best friends since like grade 6 or 7. And it's been an amazing journey for us to come back again and to be able to share with this community, to share what we've gone through, what we've learned in this process on this journey. But it was really Amanda that opened me up. I'd heard of Reiki and chakras before and saw the colors, and I didn't really know what it meant. I didn't really know what it was. So it's totally opened my life up, and I feel like it's such a tool. It's such a tool that has been so helpful in moments of anxiety and weakness and struggle and even depression. That's really connected me back to myself and the earth and who I am and what I was truly meant to do here. So I'm excited that you guys are going to get to access I almost think of it like a little bit like a superpower. I used to actually think Amanda had, well, she does have superpowers, but I used to think her hands were magical, because she would work on me as my osteopath and my massage therapist. And, I was like, oh, her hands, they just have this power about them. And what she is about to teach you guys really shows you how we all have that within us. And we have this power, this energy within us that you can harness and do a lot of amazing things with. So I will get myself out of the way because I'm in student mode just as much as you, and mute my microphone because I don't know, there's some crazy fox music going, what's the fox say in the background? You moms know how it is. So yeah, I'll mute myself out. You can take it away, Amanda.
Hi everyone, like Layla said, my name's Amanda Voodoo. So happy to see all you lovely faces tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Before we get started, we always love to open with the medicine wheel. So I want to just give some gratitude. I want to thank all of you for being here with me tonight, being with all of us tonight. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time for yourselves. There's so much chaos that it really builds up in a woman's life, in a mother's life, all with all the titles that we hold. To really truly take this time out for yourself is something to be grateful for. So I thank you all for doing that. And I'm going to ask you a question before we get started on the presentation tonight. And I want you to take a moment to, kind of reflect upon this question before we go around and we ask everyone to give one word of gratitude for tonight. I want you to really think about the time that you give to yourself, and what are the activities or what are the things that you do to be able to bring yourself to that point of stillness. Like I said, we're really busy as mothers, as wives, as all the titles that we hold. So I want you to include that in your Thanksgiving. So what are the activities that you utilize to bring yourself to a point of stillness? And then I want you to also include if you've had experience with chakra therapy or even with Reiki itself, and how many years you have, or if you're just a newbie, and that's okay. I just want to be able to know where everybody is on the playing field right now. So I'm going to pass it to you, Layla, just because it will give everybody else a bit of time. So those three things. So, what you're thankful for, that one word that you're thankful for. What are the activities that you do to create illness within life? And then how much experience do you have with chakra therapy or with Reiki?
Okay, I'll start. My word of gratitude is daughters. I am so grateful for her. She just blows my mind every day. And it was like, I think it was National Daughters Day yesterday or something like that. And the thing that I do to still my mind and take time for myself, one of the things that I do is Epsom salt cedar baths. They're one of my favorite things to do. I've been doing them since I was pregnant my first time, and breathing in the water, feeling my body rise and fall and rise and fall and just forget about everything. And also when I'm working out, I feel like when I take that time to work out and to really listen, like get connected with my body, I have the best results. I have the best workouts, and I feel so good. I could just like kind of half-ass it, you know, when you do the moves. And then there's those workouts where you're really intentional about the muscles you're feeling in your core, and you just are so in tune with your body. And so those ones really get me going. And then my experience level is newbie. You know, I've been learning as we go with Amanda, but I feel like I've always had this innate sense of my energy and my inner self, but really learning the processes and learning these meditations and learning these how to put it into practice has been really, really beneficial. So that's me. Who's next?
Awesome. Thanks, Layla.
Diane, would you like to share your gratitude?
Sure. I'm very grateful for my faith. That has been something that I've had to rely on a lot lately, and it keeps me going through the hardest times. As far as the chakras and everything, pretty much the last year, it's been, I guess, with like baths and the oils, and between that and meditation, it keeps me grounded because that's something I can go inward with. It's kind of pretty much spiritual, kind of goes along with my faith, and it keeps me grounded, and it helps me focus more on my spiritual side, and kind of gets rid of everything that's out in the world, and helps me keep focused on the things that I'm supposed to focus on. So that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. And have you done Reiki before? Are you a newbie or?
No, I really haven't. It's Amanda that's introduced me to it, and she did a distance Reiki healing, and it works. So she's my first contact with it. So I find it kind of fascinating, you know, distance Reiki and all that kind of thing. And I'm really fascinated with the energy healings and all the spiritual aspect of all of this. So that's really what I like. So anything that she can teach me is a bonus.
Awesome. I agree.
Thanks for sharing. Diane, do you wanna go ahead and share now? Oh,
We can't hear you, Diane. You're not muted. We'll come back to you, maybe. Just keep shouting at us, and when we hear you, we'll let you know. Cass, do you want to share your word of gratitude and what you do to create stillness for yourself and your experience with Reiki? Cass, you're unmuted. You're muted. Let me unmute you. Or maybe you're frozen.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Oh, word Uh, I'm going to say right now what comes to mind is my mentors that have helped me just learning how to love myself. It's always been easy to love others, but I've learned how to love Cassandra. And the things that I do to relax are prayer, relaxing music, and my and nice soaks in the tub. And I'm definitely a newbie. I've heard about it, but I don't really know anything about chakra or Reiki. I mean, a little bit, but I don't really have information on it. So I'm definitely a newbie.
Well, you're in the right place, Cass. You're in the right place. Thanks so much for sharing that. Did anybody?
Chris, I see Chris's hand is
Thank
raised.
you.
Did you want to come share as well?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yep.
Hey, I figured it out.
Yay!
So what am I thankful for? Movement and technology. Let's see, and as far as what I do to relax, I do detox baths. I try once or twice a week to do them because I've been on this long healing journey. And I do a rest and relaxation class, which is yoga and just stretching. And I'm also starting Tai Chi classes on a regular basis this next week, which I absolutely love because it's just like dancing for me. And then I do oils and I do some Jinsen Jitsu. And I'm fairly new on Reiki. I mean, I've taken a class years ago on Reiki, but I haven't used it for a long time. So I'm really wanting to take another class and learn more about it. And I'm pretty open to energy healing. I know it works. I've seen it. It's just amazing. Not so sure about the Reiki distance thing yet, but working on that. So I guess that's everything you asked for, right?
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, that distance thing, I think a lot of people have a bit of trouble with at first, just because we're so used to, relating everything to time and distance. And when there's such a large gap, it seems like how is that possible, right? But let me tell you, it is possible. So, Cynthia, do you want to come forward? Or Diane, do we know if we can hear you yet?
Hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. Well, as I said before, my gratitude, word of gratitude is my friends. I went through cancer treatments about 5 years ago, and it was strange, but I really found who my friends were at that time, and they were so supportive. And for meditation, I exercise just like Layla does, and but I go to the beach and meditate because I've been brought up on an island, so we're surrounded by the ocean, and I just go and listen to the waves and the wind and the birds singing, and it just kind of releases everything for me. And I have no experience with Reiki or healing. I believe in healing energy. I have some friends that are involved in touch therapy. So they volunteer at the Cancer Center. So it's very interesting to watch it. And that's it, pretty much.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's really interesting. As a massage therapist, I used to volunteer and run a volunteer group at the Cancer Hospice in Brantford. And I did a lot of Reiki, a lot more Reiki than I actually did the massage, because people were just needing that touch. They weren't really needing the physical rubbing. And I found it so enlightening to be able to engage that with them, and to be able to go through that process with them, because a lot of them, you know, it was the end of their life, right? So it was really, really intriguing, very experiential learning for me within that environment. So I'm glad that you were introduced to it as well, and I'm very thankful that you're here. So thank you for sharing that. Cynthia, did you want to come forward with a word of gratitude, and any experience that you have with stillness, any activities that you do to create stillness within yourself? And then the last question was, what is your experience with chakra therapy or Reiki?
I have no experience with chakra or Reiki whatsoever. I've just heard about it and it's always intrigued me. So I saw this and I was like, okay, maybe this is the world's way of saying you really need to get aligned and get your stuff together, because my life's kind of crazy. So I know I need some better alignment. I like to tend to work out to try to get myself focused and do like foam rolling and yoga type exercise. Echoing. That's really loud. It's gone now. Okay, so that's what I do to calm myself. And then for like my gratitude at the moment is just being healthy. Like, so a lot of us really take our health and our well-being completely for granted, and I'm doing lots of things to try to redirect all my energies and put myself back together as a healthy whole person. And I'm very grateful for all the people that are along that path, because like tons of people get put there. So thanks for having me on.
No problem. We're glad that you're here. Love all the newbies. So I see Ashley popped up again. Are you in a place that you can share as well, Ashley, or?
Maybe no.
Maybe. Well, take that as a no. Hey, Denise.
I know she's at gymnastics, so you know.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Denise or Adrian? We're just asking everyone. Sorry?
Yeah, we're just, would you ladies like to share your gratitude and your word of gratitude? Actually, we're sharing three things: your word of gratitude, what you do to create stillness and time for yourself, and what your experience is with Reiki or chakra therapy. Any of you ladies want to speak? If you can't, that's okay. Denise is like, no, I can't. Okay, no worries.
That's A-okay. I appreciate everyone who could share, and we're gonna hop right into chakra therapy, into the root chakra. However, I see a lot of new faces today, so I just want to kind of do a mini recap on the basics of what chakras are. Okay, chakras are just energy centers within our body. We have 7 main energy centers, okay? And within this workshop series that I'm offering, we're really covering the foundation. So we're really in depth, filtering through, understanding the healthy development of the root to the core chakras, okay? So the root chakra, the sacral plexus, and the solar plexus. So the last time that we gathered, we actually talked about what prevented us from rooting, and that is fear. Okay, so it's very important for everyone to recognize and understand their fears and their worries in their lives in order to really be able to root themselves into earth and into their present self. Okay, so, you know, we're going to go we're going to kind of jump forward from that, from the fear and the worry. But I really encourage all of you that haven't done a fear or worry purge to really do that for yourself, to, take some time, get a piece of paper, and just write out everything that comes into your mind, whether you feel that it's valid or not, okay? Because if you're not recognizing these fears and these worries, what happens is they hold power over you, okay? And if you can bring them into the forefront of your mind, then you can be the one that's within power. Okay, so I really want you to take some time to really explore, because a lot of the times us as human beings, what we do is we try to avoid those things that, scare us, that we're fearful of, or that cause worry, or any kind of, disrupt within our emotion or our mental state of being. Okay. And
also, you can access the replays. So I'm going to have those all up this evening. I'm just working on some formatting things on my computer, but yeah, so you can go back to last month's session. We do these sessions every single month, so we've been meeting, this is what, our third meeting, and yeah, you can go back and check those replays out so that you can get all the foundation. The first one was kind of like the history of Reiki and some of the more informational stuff to understand where it came from and what it's all about. The second was the fear and the worry purge and that sort of thing. So you can go through the replays, go back, so that if you feel like a little bit lost, but you are in safe hands, you are going to learn a lot here tonight, and you can always go back to that later.
Absolutely. So before we get started on the presentation, what I like to do is I like to create that safe spot that Layla was just talking about. So what we're going to do is we're all going to come to a comfortable seated position, just really whatever it may be. You don't even have to sit if you don't want to. You can lie down if that's more comfortable for you. Actually, when I started doing Reiki, that's where I started off, is in a lying position, because I have scoliosis in my back, and so sitting isn't always the most comfortable, and that's okay. You need to find out what works for you, and you need to utilize that, okay? Because everybody is different, everybody is unique, and you need to cater to your uniqueness, okay? I don't even know if that's a word, but if it isn't, we just made one up. So just come to this spot of stillness. Okay, and you just heard me kind of do one of them, a clearing breath. Okay, so just take a nice deep breath in, and then and just let it out. And within that exhale, I want you to just imagine everything being drawn down and going into the earth. Okay, and when you breathe in, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to visualize everything from the earth coming up into your full entire being. And then when you breathe out, everything dropping back down into the earth. So I like to do everything in threes, as 3 is the number of completion. If you want to close your eyes, you're more than welcome to. So we're going to start off with a little bit of Reiki here. You don't need to open your eyes, just listen to my voice. We're going to start off first by putting our hands at our heart in prayer position. And we're just going to thank, just like Cass did, all of our mentors, all of our teachers that have come before us. Everything, every lesson that has led us here to this present moment. And we're just going to give some gratitude and some thanks. And then I want you to raise your prayer hands up to your third eye. So that's just right in between your eyebrows if you don't know where that is. And we're just going to call upon Reiki. So we're just going to say Reiki, Reiki, Reiki. And then we're going to bring that prayer position back to your heart center here. And we're going to empower our hands now. So we're going to start breathing in. We're breathing up the earth energy into our whole entire being. And when we breathe out, we're breathing in the heaven energies into our whole entire being. Do that 2 more times. In the earth, out the heavens. Earth, heavens. Everybody is going to experience Reiki in their own unique way right now. I can feel my palms getting really warm. My whole entire person is getting very warm. I'm probably getting really red right now. That's okay. You might feel tingling. Don't try to change it. Just be present with it. In our heart center is where the heaven and the earth co-create. And what we're going to do is we're going to push this co-creative energy of both the heaven and the earth into our palms. So the next breath we're going to take in, we're visualizing the heaven and the earth going into our palms. I want you to focus on that space that's in between both of your hands. And I want you to take the next breath, and we're going to create more space, not through movement, through stillness and visualization. So breathe in space in between your 2 hands with this next breath. Now that our palms are empowered, I want you to take your hands and you're going to brush yourself off. So it doesn't really matter how you brush yourself off. You know, in many different ancient cultures, they use different ways of clearing their energy fields. Some use smudge, some use visualization, others use essential oils or ointments. So I just want you to brush yourself off and visualize you brushing everything from the day off so that you can completely be present within this moment. Now I want you to take your hands and I want you to just place them onto your onto your thighs. I just want you to be able to sit grounded and comfortable, feet flat on the floor, palms at your thighs, spine is erect. And I want you to visualize a circle within your third eye, within your mind's eye. The circle represents protection. We are building this safe space for everyone to heal, to grow, and to expand. Just take a moment and be. Don't try to change anything. Don't try to alter anything. If your mind is still wandering, that's okay. If you have aches and pains in your body, that's okay. If you feel hot and bothered like I do right now, that's okay. Everything is okay in the way it should be. Now I just want everybody to just come back into the room with me. Come back into the present moment. You can snap your fingers if you want, clap your hands, just bring you back. You can create a little bit of movement in your body if you want to. Excellent. Perfect. Thank you for bringing that beautiful sacred space into this environment that we have here. Okay. So I'm just going to pull up this presentation here now so that we can get into our root chakra. Perfect. So we're talking about the root chakra today. It's also called the base chakra, and we're really exploring the healthy development of this. You know, through many years of my Reiki experience. I've actually been doing Reiki for about 12 years, and chakras kind of go hand in hand with Reiki. So I've probably actually been studying chakras a little bit longer than I had been practicing Reiki. And within my experience, I never really came along the healthy development of the chakras. I always came along books that were talking about if your chakra was too open or if your chakra was too closed, you know, what imbalances and physical experiences or emotional or mental experiences you may be having, but never came across this healthy development. And so I thought this was very essential for people to understand within their exploration of chakra therapy. So I'm just going to go over a brief overview of what the root chakra is represented within our physical capacity here. And we're going to just really kind of dabble into some of the essentials that we need to know about the root chakra. So we're going to look at the color here first of all, and the color of the root chakra is either red or black. I tried to wear both of them today, but I wanted you guys to see Layla's beautiful Buddha painting rather than my shirt. So so if you feel like you're imbalanced within your root, if you feel like you're living within that fear base, really try to engulf yourself with either wearing black or wearing red on a continual basis, so that you're really bringing back that connection to our earth. So the location of the root chakra is actually at the base of our spine, the coccyx or the tailbone, or if you want a really good visualization of it, it's actually centered right in between our ovaries as women. So it's really at that base of us. And if you had joined us in the other workshops, this is actually what forms the pole of Nizangita, that Sushumna pole that goes parallel to our spine. Okay. So the root chakra is actually symbolized in oneness. So this is really formed at our first experience with walking. And if you start to understand, you know, the correlation between the root chakra and boundaries and responsibilities, you really think about a child, and within their first year or so after they've started to walk, they really start to explore those boundaries and explore responsibility. And so this is what the root chakra symbolizes. It symbolizes this oneness, this unity that we have amongst our whole entire earth. As you can see in the picture that's depicted here with the spider and the spider web. Another visualization that's great for us to utilize is a tree with its roots. You know, the tree is very rooted within the earth, and if you were to be able to expose that tree roots, which you'll be able to see in a few pictures down the slide, that it's very intricate and very connected. So the element, can anybody guess what the element is of the root? Of course, it's earth, right? If it wasn't earth, I would kind of question it a little bit, but yes, it's earth. So the Sanskrit word for the root chakra is Muladhara, okay? And this actually means the root of support. So again, if we're living in this fear-based world, if we're living within the worry or the fear, it doesn't allow us to have this root of support. And so we need to eliminate that first, or even just recognize it first, so that we can really form this root, okay? So the affirmation that you should be using if you feel that you need to work on this root chakra is, I am one. So everybody say that with me. I am one. Perfect. So the root chakra is represented in the physical realm through these 4 things. Okay, so food, shelter, water, and air. Okay, so I thought this was really cool, this picture. You can only survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 30 days without food. I thought that was interesting that it's in threes again, first of all. But not only that, is these are our essentials. And when I was looking this up on the internet, it was quite funny because one of the things that the internet was saying was an essential was clothes. And I just thought that was very hilarious because clothing is one of the biggest environmental problems that we have right now, is the abundance of clothing. It's the biggest waste form within our earth. So I thought that was quite funny that they were getting that misconstrued, that I think they didn't have air in there, but they had clothing. So I just wanted to share that with you all. And then, of course, we need to really understand our 5 senses, okay? It's because we are sensual beings, and we're here to explore the world through our senses. So we really need to understand that the root chakra is represented through the five senses. And those 5 senses are found within all of those, here, let me back up here, within all of those experiences, within all of those 4 things, right? So, food is taste, shelter, you touch shelter, you can smell shelter sometimes, so it's kind of cool that you can see that all of those 5 senses are found within those 4 essentials. So when we're looking at imbalance, this is that picture that I was talking to you all about the root system of the tree. So this is actually an unrooted tree right here. And so I thought it was a great depiction of being imbalanced, right? So out of balance. So when we're out of balance in our root chakra, it affects all other chakras and, of course, our grounding. What a lot of people within seeking spiritual enlightenment, within, engaging within energy and such, and even myself, I was a person that did this as well. We always try to go up first. So a lot of people want to expand their crown chakra. They want to expand their third eye. They want to be able to see spirits and auras and colors and all those things. And that's great. That's grand. However, if you really want to become balanced and become enlightened and grow and expand, it needs to be done at the root first. Okay. Like Layla said, when we're building our house, our foundation, what are the essentials in building a foundation, right? So you have to always think about that. Start at the root, because I was one of those people that I started at the crown, and it just caused a lot of havoc in my physical and my emotional and my mental aspects, and then also my energetic aspects of my being. So fear is what prevents us from having a balanced and stable root chakra, like I had said before. And so let's talk about a balanced root chakra. A balanced root chakra means be here now, right? The ability to ground brings us into the present moment, and it focuses us. So there are a lot of people that feel very scattered in their brain, scattered in their minds. And being able to come back to this foundation of being rooted allows them to still that scattered mind and to really focus their attention on where they want to go or where they are. Okay? And of course, this is vital to having a healthy connection to our reality without any distortions. So when it comes to distortions, a lot of people live within their mind. They live within the reality of what their mind creates, but their mind may not be actually seeing the physical reality clearly. because it's so clouded by their bias or their judgments or their fears or their worries. And so becoming rooted again allows you to expand that vision and be able to see the aspect of polarity. So being able to see the positive and the negative of, this situation or that situation or this reality. Okay. Oh, what's happening here? The chat just came up. Okay. Oh, here we go. So, excuse me. So a healthy root allows these to manifest when we have this healthy connection to earth. Our basic needs, okay, our dreams, and our ideas. And so really all manifestation, if anybody were to take a course on how to manifest things, this is what you need to do first, is you really need to understand how to root yourself within our reality, within our physical realm. Because you can't pull something from the energetic or the spiritual realm into physicality if you're not in your physical being on a continual basis. So really exploring and understanding the healthy development of this root chakra is going to allow you to manifest things at an easier pace within your life. So before we get started on those healthy boundaries and on our responsibilities, I wanted to go through the 4 steps of unraveling chaos because, like I said, all of us live within this physical realm, and at times it can be very chaotic, right? So I wanted to go through these 4 steps with you all. So number 1, move in the opposite direction from what you're coming in. If you're walking into chaos, turn around and go the other way, okay? Because obviously you're not creating ease. There's a lot of resistance there. Whatever direction you're walking in, you need to create ease within your life. It's, the metaphor I kind of use is swimming upstream. It's a struggle, right? When you're trying to swim against that tide, it's so taxing on your whole entire being. Just turn over onto your back and float back down that stream, because that's actually the direction you're supposed to be going. So the number 2 step here is stop fighting and surrender, okay? Again, float on your back and go with the flow instead of trying to resist everything. Resistance really builds a lot of physical ailments and disease or dis-ease within our energy aspect, within all of our aspects of our being, really. Number 3 is stop blaming and become accountable. Okay, so this one was cool. Grandfather Black Bear, again, thank you to the mentors. Grandfather Black Bear said this to me the other day and reminded me of this, and I thought it was perfect. He said, when you're blaming somebody, just remember 1 finger is pointing to them and 3 fingers are pointing back at you. So really, who's the one who needs to be accountable here, right? So the 1 finger saying it's your fault, but then you have to ask yourself, what happened? How did I react? And how did I handle that situation, right? Because you are the only one who can change yourself. You can't change anybody else. And blaming somebody else for the things that are happening in your life, you're just trying to pass the buck type thing. And that's not going to get you anywhere. So start to really understand where you are within that situation and the lesson, especially the lesson, because that's what we're here for. We're really only here to learn the lessons. Sorry, I muted myself. Okay, so the number 4 is open your eyes. Don't put on the blinders. See all possibilities and make a choice, okay? again, when it comes to our reality is on a pole. And this is actually a universal law called the law of polarity. And the pole has a positive aspect and a negative aspect. But the reality is that they're the exact same things. They're just reflections of one another. Okay, so we don't want to look at things in a judgmental way. And, you know, whenever you're exploring your fears, whenever you're exploring your worries, you want to create that safe space. And that safe space means that you are not judging yourself, you're not judging others, you're simply, you know, sitting within a space of acceptance and understanding. And one thing that I've really learned along this journey is understanding the difference between being judgmental and being discerning. Okay, and being discerning really engages the boundaries. It really allows you to understand that you're viewing things from a point of all possibilities, but you're viewing things to make sure that, is this conversation I'm having with myself, is it helping me or is it hurting me? Is this conversation with somebody else, is it helping them or is it hurting them? Because if it's helping them, you're coming from a place of discernment. If it's hurting them, you're coming from a place of judgment. And that's not going to help anybody heal, neither yourself nor the individual that you're having the conversation with. Okay, so really come from this place of an open eyes, but also come from the place of being discerning rather than judgmental. I just want to check the comments here.
Yeah, so I can read them. Jacqueline, hey Jacqueline. She's another one of our Canadian ladies. She said, I was literally in a convo with boss expressing my boundaries as hard as it was right before I came on. Glad you made it, Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, it sounds like you're very much in alignment, right? You're in the right place. Awesome. So we're going to jump right into these, the healthy development of the root now.
She said it was scary. Boundaries can be scary.
Oh.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure that any of you that have a story that you want to tell, you can put it in the comments or just, you know, unmute yourself and interrupt me during the presentation here tonight, because I want to be able to hear everyone. And if you need to share, that's a part of your healing journey. And we want to be able to provide that space for you to be heard. Okay, so yeah, just let it out, let it out. So healthy development of our root chakra leads us to a well-connected and grounded being. If we didn't start off with a healthy development as a child, how do we fix it? You know, I know that somebody in our comment thread with that Facebook Live that we did on Monday had discussed this actually, that, you know, as a child, we don't really we're not really informed as to what are healthy boundaries. So let's get to how do we fix it. See some more comments here. Let's see if I can pop them up. I don't know if I can. Layla, can you read them? Is there anything else that...
Yeah, Cynthia just said she's taking notes like crazy. She loves it. Jacqueline, this is such value information. So deeply grateful.
Perfect.
So everyone's just
yeah, loving it up. Good. I love to be loved. I'll love you back. Awesome. So the fix. All right, the fix. Let's get to the fix. So number one, we need to become aware of our old programming. Okay, so in our 4 Directions mentoring that Layla and I do, we talk about this brain patterning all the time. And I know that Layla has talked about it to the Women's Connection as well. But really understanding your own brain patterning, becoming aware of your own patterns within your life. You want to be able to reevaluate these. You want to be able to release them. And then also you want to be able to replace them with really good, healthy boundaries, right? Really good, healthy sets of beliefs that work for you now, okay? That's essential. We can't incorporate things that catered to the old us, all right? We're all nature. We all move with the cycles of the season. And within moving with the cycles of the season, we constantly grow, we constantly expand, and we have to constantly get rid of old thought patterns or habit patterns and introduce new ones that really stand with who we are at this present moment, okay? So really understanding your why, okay? And whether things align with that why. Okay, number 2, to dissolve these old programmings, you have to really allow yourself a lot of forgiveness and compassion, okay? No judgment, like I said. You do not want to judge yourself. I had a client that came in the other day, and she said that she was reflecting upon, all the things that she had learned, and why couldn't she have learned this 10 years ago? And then she started evaluating her life 10 years ago, and only if she knew that she would act this way instead of the way that she did. And I said to her, that's not fair. It's not fair to you, the you that you were back then, because you didn't know these tools. You didn't have, this knowledge base. And so for you to sit in a place of knowledge and understanding of where you are now, you're judging yourself back then. And so you're not creating that unconditional love, that safety support that you need to provide for yourself, because it's really hard for you to get that any other place if you can't find that within yourself. And then number 3 here is we need to build our foundation, our mental and our emotional nature off of these boundaries and off of responsibility. Again, this is formed within, the first 2 years of a child's life. And if it's not encouraged within those first 2 years, we go walking through this, chaotic life that we all live, and we start to sacrifice ourselves, sacrifice our well-being, and we create that unhealthy aspect. We create that disease. We create those illnesses, or we create what I call the clue by fours. Those people that get into multiple car accidents, or just accidents in general. One thing that people need to understand is pain. Pain itself is a grounding mechanism. And if you're caught in the whirlwind of your brain and your mind, you are going to get hit by a clue by four, so that pain is created and you're brought back to the here and the now. If you're constantly aware and you're constantly present, you're less likely to be engaged within that pain aspect. But any instant that you get too imbalanced between the physical aspect of your body and the mental aspect of your body, wham, you get hit to bring you back again. Awesome. So let's talk about boundaries. Yes. So here we are, the nice juicy stuff that we really want to get to, right, ladies? So boundaries, there's 5 of them that we're going to be talking about. The first one is safety, okay? Safety. Everybody say it. Safety. Right? So how do we form safety? Okay, so I have a quick story, of course, right? I was watching my cats. So I have cats that are outdoor cats, and they like to hunt. And I'm okay with that because that's their nature, right? And so I was curious one day, as a coyote mentor, as a nature connections mentor, we really encourage people to understand the healthy benefits of connecting with nature on a regular basis. I think Diana was one of the ladies that said with stillness, she really engaged in understanding her awareness when it comes to listening to birds and to the waves and to the wind and the everything that has to do with nature. And so I was sitting at my sit spot. This is one thing that we do on a regular basis in coyote mentoring. And I saw one of my cats were coming out of the house, and there was a squirrel there. And because I was sitting so still and so quiet, the squirrel didn't notice me. However, it noticed the cat. And I thought that the squirrel actually would have taken off, right? And I sat there and I watched it. And I was really intrigued by actually what it did. It didn't take off. It didn't engage in fear. What it did was it actually got closer to the cat. It created a safe space through becoming aware of what the cat was doing, the becoming aware of the mood the cat was in. Notice that the cat had just woken up from a nap, was kind of, lethargic still, knew that it had a couple of minutes to be able to find its safest route away. But a lot of people don't understand that awareness is actually what creates the safety. So we need to raise our levels of awareness. We need to engage within our five senses, reawaken these five senses that we have so that we're so completely and utterly aware that we're so safe. Okay? And of course, within that awareness, understand what does engage that fear, that sympathetic nervous system, what engages, or what you determine as a dangerous thing. Okay? So really understanding the awareness around what is safe for you.
And can I just say something? This kind of brings something to my head, a story, and I had found myself being Toby's kind of a little bit more than me, like paranoid about your kids getting hurt and them being safe, right? And so they'll go up on a jungle gym and you'll say, be careful, be careful, be careful. And I was like, this, what could I say that's better than that? I don't just want them to always be careful in life and be tiptoeing, never take the jump, never take the risk, never try something new because they're being careful. I don't want to program them from day one on that. So I just started to tell them to be aware, be aware. Be aware of where you are. Be aware of the fall. Be aware of the height. Be aware. Beatrice, be aware. When you're walking down the street, head up. Be aware. Look where you're going. Look around. And it's, I don't think that's something I was ever told, ever in my life, until I was like 30. I didn't even know what awareness was. I didn't even know whether I was aware or unaware. So yeah, just really a little shift that I was like, I can create safety by teaching them to be aware. So
yeah, that's absolutely right. That's awesome, Layla. I actually use the word, are you safe? Or I use the question, are you safe? So that so that Elijah's the one who's determining whether or not he is safe. And then he can always say to himself and engage whether it's safe. Or when I see something that I know is dangerous, I just say to him, danger, danger, right? So that he is aware of that. But I love that. Instead of saying, be careful, be aware, be aware. That's awesome, Layla. Thanks for that share. Anybody else have any stories or any comments there, Layla, that you can?
Jacqueline says safety is a really big issue for her. She literally tears up when people use the word safe because she's felt so many situations where she hasn't been safe. So there's a lot of emotional triggers that go to the word safety.
Mm-hmm. So, it's great, Jacqueline, that you're recognizing the emotional attachment to that word, right? And now you can really start to reprogram that. And you don't even have to utilize that specific word, but understand what creates that emotional trigger, because our emotions serve us. Our emotion actually is the word for movement, and it's created to move us through that situation that we're experiencing, through that trauma in which we've engaged in the past, so that we can learn the lesson from it and we can reprogram that and move forward from it. So I'm glad that you're in this place, Jacqueline. Oh, I think you're talking, but we can't hear you. Oh, there you go.
Oh, there she is.
So I just wanted to offer, and thank you so much for inviting me on. This is such an important topic to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm so concerned about like the children of the next generation not having this information, and how not having this information is a detriment to them in the future. And yeah, so I'm so grateful you're sharing this. With regards to safety, I find that my heart starts racing when I feel the need to speak up, because my subconscious has associated speaking up with danger and not being safe. So even when I was talking to my boss's wife, she's kind of a boss, I was sharing with her issues that I had in the office, because a coworker, two of them tend to swear a lot, and I thought that it's not very professional. And I'm not trying to throw them under the bus or anything, but there has to be some integrity in a workplace, right? And maybe someone else might not be turned off by it or affected by cussing, but other people may be affected. And it doesn't really, as a parent too, because the one girl's a parent, she said, I don't mind if my kids swear. And swearing, I know everybody swears here and there, but when you're teaching your kids, yeah, swear, just don't swear at me. You're setting them up for failure in a sense, right? Because if they go out in the world and they swear at the wrong person, it can actually be harmful to them. So yeah, that's what I was doing before I came on here, but I was feeling so much anxiety just about speaking up and sharing how I felt, because I'm afraid of the backlash that I'm going to experience. So that's why I find this topic of boundaries so essential. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thanks for joining us. It's great that you brought up that point of inconsistency, I would call it. Where somebody says you can do this here, but you can't do this here. Well, we're really going to get into that with accountability, and as much as we would love for our world to understand, the true essence of everything being energy, and even the words that we speak, the words that we think, not even let alone ones that we speak, go out and they affect the world more than what many people understand. And so I'm glad that you spoke up for yourself, as much as hard as it is, and I was at that place too. Layla can attest to this. I, as you can see, there's a lot of knowledge that's within my toolbox But there was a long time that Layla kept on, poking me and saying, Amanda, we need to share this. Amanda, you need to share this. And I was like, no, because all my fears, fear, right? And the more that you actually do it, and I encourage this within all of you ladies, the more that you actually speak your truth and you allow yourself to be heard, even if nobody is listening, you're listening. And that's what creates the change. That's what creates the new brain patterning, because you're empowering yourself. And that's where it has to start. It has to start with empowering you. Okay, so good on you, Jacqueline, for as much as anxiety had built up, you plummeted through that fear, that worry, and you spoke your truth, and that's awesome. So we're going to number 2 of the 5. Number 2 is security. Okay, a lot of people have distortions on what security is. Security is those 4 essentials, nothing more than that. Okay, a lot of people want to keep up with the Joneses next door and buy that boat, and they think that that boat is what's going to create security for them, or buy
your RRSPs, or your bank account, or your savings, or all that stuff, for sure.
Right. So like, I remember, I'm going to kind of share a little bit, Layla, about your Bitcoin. So I remember Layla got into investing in Bitcoin, and so many people like had these mixed feelings about it. And even myself, at a moment, there was something that came on the radio, and I messaged.
It was on the news, and you called me.
Right. And I said, Layla, like, because I wanted to make her aware, and it was nothing more than that. I wanted to bring her awareness up to make sure that she was safe. And of course, Layla had done her research through and through. So she understood her risks and the pros of investing in that. And she went through with it, and that was awesome that she could create that truth within herself, that other people didn't deter her from doing something that she felt within her core was something she wanted to do to help invest for the future of her family. And I think that's really awesome, right? So to really understand security, we have to understand our basic needs. And those basic needs are, again, our 4 elements and shelter. So 4 elements is our air, our earth, which is food. Okay, our air is breath, of course. We have to really understand the fire, the passion. Okay, and a lot of people forget this one, is that passion. We have to engage within that passion every single day in order to feel secure. Okay, and everybody has their own passions, but we need to be able to engage in it. And many people have multiple passions, right? One of mine is health, and one of mine is nature. Every single day I go for a nature walk. Every single day I am considering the food that I'm putting into my body, because I know that that's what creates health for me. That's my earth, right? That's my root chakra, right? So, and then of course, the last one, water. We are water. We're the 4 elements, but majority of our body is water. And if we're not hydrating ourselves, we're not going to be healthy individuals. We're not going to be secure within our place within this earth. Okay. And then of course, shelter. So, we have to pay for hydro, and we have to pay for heat, especially up here in Canada in these fall and winter months. But in other parts of the world, they might not have to worry about that heat factor, but they may have to worry more about creating a cool, shaded area for themselves, right? So everybody is different when it comes to their essential needs, but they're generally all the same, the 4 elements and shelter. Anybody have any stories, or before we go on to the next one about security? No, we're good? Excellent. Okay, so number 3 is trust. Okay, so how do we build trust? Well, you can see in the picture beside here, truth and trust go hand in hand. We build trust through understanding our truth, okay? It doesn't have to be everybody's truth. I always use this metaphor of, if I were to get everybody to stand in a circle, and we were to place a tree in the middle of the circle, and then I asked each individual to describe that tree to me, do you think any person would describe it the exact same as the person that's standing beside them? Probably not. Maybe if they heard them, but most likely not, right? Because we all see things in our own unique way. Some people who are really artistic may look at the shadowing of the tree more than the coloring of the tree. Other people who are, very simplistic might just say, yeah, it's a tree, there's a trunk, there's branches, and there's leaves, right? But all of us have to understand, what is my truth? What is my truth? Okay, and learning to express what that truth is. It doesn't mean that it has to be the truth for everyone that's in that room or within that space, but you need to learn to honor your truth. Okay, because that's how you build trust within yourself. That's how you build boundaries. Another example. I was a child and I had 3 older sisters, okay? And I have been clairvoyant for a really long time, since I was probably born. Obviously, when I was younger, I couldn't really understand the difference. But when I got older, and my sisters would tell me to go to bed. Go to bed, Amanda. You need to go to bed. You're so young. You need to go to bed. And I would tell them, no, I don't want to go to bed. And they would be like, why? And I would be like, there is a man standing in my room. They would be like, Amanda, you're so paranoid. Just go to bed. And I'd be like, okay, well, could you just put like a nightlight or something in my room? Because when it's dark, my clairvoyance just is so alert. And so I get overwhelmed because I can see all of this stuff. I can see multiple dimensions of beings, and a lot of people, if I went into detail, would probably be like, she's a little woohoo, but that's okay. It's my truth. This is my truth. I can see spirits. I can communicate with spirits. And for the longest time, I would never tell people that. People would come in for treatments with me. I would touch them. I could tell them, I remember I had this blind client, and she would always quiz me on what she ate for lunch, and I would be dead on every time. And it wasn't necessarily that, the intuitive aspect, but it was because I was so aware of all of my senses. I could smell, if she ate tuna fish salad, or, but a lot of the things that my clients come in, and I'll tell them about things that are happening in their lives, and they're like, how do you know that? And a lot of it's because of my spidey senses, I call them. And these are my truth. And for the longest time, I didn't express my truth. I didn't express these things. And I started getting really sick. I actually had thyroid cancer, so right at the throat here, at the age of 16. And your throat is your communication, right? So what was my lesson there? Speak my truth. So I really encourage all of you ladies to build your trust within yourselves, okay? My sisters always told me, Amanda, there was no man standing beside your bed. There's no man standing beside your bed. But let me tell you, every night there's still a man that stands beside my bed. And I feel like now that I can engage more and that I'm not fear-based as much, that I understand that he protects, that he's there to protect. it's like I've formed him to protect me, to create that safe space while I go wandering in the night realm and into the spirit dream world. But I can speak this now without any hesitation, without worrying about what people are going to think of me, whether I'm weird or eccentric or whatever it is that they may think. That's my truth. And so I've really learned to understand and speak my truth and build trust within myself. Okay, so then holding this place of understanding your truth, you can come to your self accountability in that truth. Okay, so if you don't, you know, in a judgmental world, if somebody thinks that what you're doing is wrong and you feel that it's right, you're not going to worry about what that person is going to think or their judgment they're going to place on you, because you know that that's your truth and that you're only holding yourself accountable to your truth and not to what they believe or what they're thinking. So number 4, we're on number 4. Number 4 is all about health, right? So we need to understand our boundaries on a health aspect, okay? And we need to understand health in our full entire being. Again, as a massage therapist, as an osteopath, you know, I've been encouraged to do like 20-minute treatments, 15-minute treatments with people. That's not my truth. I generally spend between an hour and a half to even up to 3 hours with people when it comes to creating a healthy space for them. Because what I have learned within my healthcare career is that we are a being, and within that being, there's 4 aspects of us. There's our spiritual aspect, our mental aspect, emotional aspect, and our physical aspect. And you know, starting off as a massage therapist and just looking at things in the physicality, people would feel relief for a week or 2, but never a full amount of relief there. And so it started to frustrate me. And me being the person I am, I wanted to strive for understanding health to the fullest extent, because I really felt like I was here to help people. And so coming to this understanding that I couldn't just treat people on the physical level and get their ailments to go away completely got me to this place of exploring the other aspects of our being, that spiritual, that mental, and that emotional. Because I kind of had already mastered the physical, right? And then, of course, once I hit osteopathy, I was like, whoa, I didn't master the physical. And everybody has to understand that there are going to be different modalities out there. There's going to, you know, some people may find chiropractic works for them, or osteopathic works for them, or massage therapy works for them, or a conjunction of all 3. But also understand that you need to be healing within those other capacities of your being. So understanding, first of all, balance. Balance is a constant state of movement. You know, you watch a kid walk on that balance beam. They're never just walking straight across. They're constantly moving. Okay, so understanding that balance is a constant movement. It's never stagnant or stopped. Okay, and then understanding that we need to create this balance throughout the 4 aspects of our being to ultimately get to that point of health. Awesome. So number 5 is all about the love. All about the love, okay? And when it comes to love, we have to understand that love in its essence is unconditional love. Okay, how many of us, you know, I remember Layla saying about the safety and saying that she was never told to be aware. Right? But how many of us were showing love that was more about loyalty or obligation rather than unconditional? You know, I was one of them. You know, my mom, you know, thanks again to my mom for the many lessons that she taught me while she was here. But my mom was very indecisive about things. She was very wishy-washy, and I don't know if it was because she was a single parent of 4, and of course, like, I'm not a single parent, and I kudos to all of those single parents out there, fathers, mothers, grandparents, because I don't know how you find it in yourselves to do the work that you do. And I hats off to all of you that do. I'm very grateful and thankful for all of you. But bringing it back to this lesson that my mother really taught me is, she always said that she loved me. She always showed me affection. But I always felt like if I was a good girl, my mom loved me. But if I was a bad girl, I wasn't as loved. And so I always strived for this perfection of being good, being good, being good. But understanding that law of polarity, that, we are who we are, whether people judge it as being good or being bad, we still need to show ourselves love. I was at a seminar. It was called You Can Do It. It was like a Hay House seminar. And they were talking, and they went through this visualization with us. And it was all about bringing in the aspects of ourselves. And I've heard this on multiple levels. There's our inner child, and then there's our self as in the present moment of self. And then there's our elder self. And then there's our gargoyle self, and really being able to take all of those parts of ourselves and love them all, especially, that gargoyle, because a lot of people kind of want to deny that part of themselves. They, I'll give you another story. So my husband and I, we had first moved into our house here. We weren't married yet. But we moved into our house, and we decided to do our backsplash in our kitchen. And I was all for it because I love to have a beautiful environment around me. However, I don't like doing the work. I just don't like doing renovations. I don't know. It's not a part of me, right? However, I felt like, we were in this together. I had to help him. And so I started becoming very bitchy. And my husband, Jonathan, he goes, Amanda, you're being very bitchy. And I bawled, and I was like, oh my goodness, I never knew that you thought this of me. You think I'm a bitch. And I cried for days because I was so distraught by, having this exposed to me, that this man that says that he loves me thinks I'm a bitch, right? And I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to move forward in our relationship knowing that he thinks this of me, right? And so I started to reflect upon it, and I realized that the bitch part of me is actually a defense mechanism. It's when I don't feel safe. And at that point, when we were doing the backsplash or whatever, his ideas and my ideas weren't blending. And so I started to feel very unsafe about voicing my opinion, Jacqueline. Really, it triggered that defense mechanism. And so I was actually on the phone a few weeks later trying to change over my insurance on our car because I was traveling a longer distance to work. And I triggered that same exact defense mechanism, and I got very kind of demeaning. And I realized that title of being a bitch was my demeaning factor. And I get very demeaning when people aren't listening to me, when I'm not being heard, right? Yes, Jacqueline, I see you nodding there. So, I understood that this was part of my patterning. And, if I wanted to to change it in any aspect, I first had to accept that that's where I was. And so I accepted that, yes, when I get defensive, I become demeaning and bitchy. And that's okay, because it's my defense mechanism. And so we have to really understand this umbrella of unconditional love in all aspects, no matter what people are going to think of me. My husband still loves me, even though that's one of my brain patternings, and there's multiple others that I could use, but that's one that really stands out. So yes, understand that love is unconditional. It's not loyalty or obligation. It's just simply loving somebody regardless of the titles that people may put on them or the titles that we may put on ourselves. Any comments, Layla, that
Just a lot of the women related to that feeling of being unheard. Diana says she always felt invisible and not heard, and Jacqueline frequently felt unheard. So I think that that's a common thread.
Perfect. Yes, so thanks for relating with me, ladies. So again, understanding to love ourselves with no judgment, okay? And like I said, learning discernment. Is this helping or is it hurting? So let's get to responsibility and accountability. But before we do that, I want to take a break, okay? Because we just went through a whole lot of really detailed information there. So I want to actually do another slight visualization, meditation, Reiki, whatever you want to put a title on it. But I want everybody to just come back into their seats and, put their feet flat on the floor. Get yourself nice and grounded here. Excellent. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to start to engage that root chakra. So if everybody wants to just close their eyes and take that nice deep cleansing breath in, breathing out any, insecurity, any fear, any worry, giving it back to our Mother Earth, giving her thanks for transmuting that energy, allowing it to be utilized again in some other way or some other purpose. And I just want you to become completely aware of your body. Again, not trying to change it, just accepting it for what it is doing, where it is, even showing it some appreciation for everything it has already done for today. And then I want everybody to start to visualize that color of red or black, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I want you to just engulf yourself in that color. I want it surrounding you. Even, extending to a foot or two beyond your body, behind you, beside you, in front of you, below you, above you. And just become aware of that breath. You don't need to alter it or change it. It doesn't need to be deep. Just become aware of you breathing in and out. And every time you breathe in and out, that color is becoming more defined, more distinct. And within your next in-breath, I want you to do a Kegel for me. So you're going to squeeze in with your in-breath and let it go with your out-breath. Tighten that pelvic floor with your in-breath. Let it go with your out-breath. Tightening it up. Letting it go. Now I want you to become just so aware of your body, if there's any aches or pains or discomforts. And I want you to pick an area. You know, it doesn't have to be anything specific. I just want you to pick an area that you're drawn to, that you feel like you need to place your hands on. And I just want you to put your hands there. And I want you to just become aware of the sensation that's in between that space of your hands and that area in which you're placed your hands on. And I want you to just breathe and be aware of it. Don't try to change it again. Don't alter it. Don't wish it away. Understand that it's there for a reason. That it's there to teach you something. Just completely accept it. I want you to breathe in and out, and I want you to just feel that color, either the red or the black, just completely engulf your hands and that area in which you're touching. I want you to ask that area, do you have a message for me? You may see this message present in your mind's eye as a picture. You may hear almost like a voice in your head telling you something that you need to help it. You know, you can even ask that question, how can I help you? You might feel tingling, or you might just hear that word stillness. Honor anything that presents. And if nothing presents, honor that as well. Now I just want you to bring your hands back to your thighs, just to bring you back into that grounded posture. I just want you to listen. I'm going to ask everyone to come back into the space again. Snap your fingers, clap your hands, create a bit of movement. Whatever you need to bring you back. So you just heard the drum beat. The drum beat is our heartbeat of Mother Earth. We're taught this in Indigenous wisdom. So I thought that that would really help us to become grounded again. Right now, I feel all tingly up my feet and into my pelvis area. Does anybody have any experience that they want to share with us within that last little meditation that we had? Did you have any sensations that presented within your 5 senses?
I got really cold, and usually I get really hot when we're going through these Reiki meditations and these visualizations. Anytime I'm sort of stimulating that part of my mind, I tend to get really hot. But I don't know, my house is really cold, but I was just had such an awareness to how cold I was. And I was like, okay, just honor that. Usually you're hot, so, something different. But yeah, I was getting really cold. I felt when I asked if there was a message for me, one came through. So, it's like, and our part of our brain is questioning it. We have that question or doubt. And just doing all this work has allowed me to just accept it and accept it as truth and listen to it and hear it. So yeah, that was my experience.
Awesome. Thanks, Layla, for sharing that. Did anybody else have anything that they would like to share? Okay, are we all ready to move on to our responsibilities and accountability? Yeah. Okay, so responsibilities and accountability is the exact same thing. Okay. So first of all, the one thing that I need everybody to understand here is that there is only one person, one being in this universe that we need to be accountable for, even as mothers, okay? And it is ourselves, all right? So the first thing that we need to understand is we need to stop blaming and be accountable for ourselves. And what are the things that we need to be accountable for? So we need to be accountable for our thoughts and our prayers. Cass was saying earlier that the place in which she brings stillness is, within her prayers. And I utilize this picture here of the indigenous tobacco ties. And, tobacco in the indigenous wisdom is the medicine of, grandfather calls it the telephone booth. So a lot of people, if they smoke cigarettes, a great thing for them to understand is that this is actually your communication to our creator, to spirit. And these tobacco ties are done with great intent behind them, great thought behind them. And as you can see, these individuals, even though they're in a group doing them, they're all working on their own ties, and some are in very deep states of focus and concentration because they understand how impactful their thoughts are.
How many tobacco ties did we make for our trees? 100?
There's I believe like 84 of them that we did. Yeah, and within doing that, it required a lot of concentration on my part to, cut all of those ties, to, place the tobacco in each one of them and then tie them into a knot. Your fingers, after a while, they really start, feeling that physical labor on them. And your mind starts to feel that as well, with all the concentration that you have to create within those ties, right? So, any deterrence of the mind can really create a false manifestation, a distorted manifestation within your life. So we have to really be careful about what we're thinking about, what we're praying about. And be specific. That's one thing, I remember Layla and I, we did a sweat lodge. a few months back, and I first went up and offered my offering to the medicine woman, and she asked me what I was asking for. And I said to her that I wanted people to become aware and awake, and for them to honor the earth. And she looked at me and she shook her head no. And I looked at her and I was like, what do you mean no? And she's like, what are you asking for? She said, that's not for you specifically. That's, for the greater good. And there's a part of me that understands that we are all one. So, that's where I was coming from. But she specifically wanted to know why I was there, what I was asking for. And so I came back to her and I said, I'm asking for guidance and understanding of what are the next steps in order for Layla and I to create that Four Directions Healing Ranch, in which we've been working so diligently towards. And she was satisfied with that answer, because it was more specific to me and what I needed at that moment. So make sure that you're specific about it. So the second thing that we need to be responsible and accountable for is our intention. Okay, intention, is something that we're not very well informed about. It's when I think of the word intention, I think of it as very broad. And intention, it really isn't very broad. If you look at the picture here, and you can see this woman, and she's shooting her arrow into, she wants to, her intention is to get it into that center of that board, right? And so, my understanding of intention was actually quite opposite to what it truly means. And so we have to be very focused, to be able to really clear that clutter of external influences or biases of our past experiences. And we have to really understand what we are striving towards, what we are focusing on achieving, or what we are focusing on learning within that moment, so that we can actually achieve that. Because when people when they don't understand, especially their commitment in something, this intention can get really it can get construed by those external influences, and by the clutter of our mind, and by the influences of the situations in which we've experienced within that day, or within the matter of hours or months or years. Okay. And then the last thing we need to be accountable for is our actions. Okay, and understanding the alignment between all three of those things. So, Layla always talks about this why factor. And when Layla first was discussing this with me a couple of years ago, I didn't really understand why she was asking about this why factor. But it's really essential to our commitment levels, because there are a lot of people out there that, I'm going to put it again in a metaphor type, because I always like to relate everything to nature. Over this past spring, I planted a whole bunch of seeds in my flower boxes, in my vegetable garden boxes. And I became pregnant. And I don't have a thyroid, like I said to everyone. I had cancer when I was 16, so it was removed. So I have to take a thyroid supplement, which is a hormonal supplement. And so I find that at the beginning of pregnancies, when hormones are fluxing up and down and sideways and front and back, that I'm very ill. And so I have a lot of morning sickness, and I'm just very lethargic, and my body can't handle as well as probably some people that, you know, have natural hormones that their body is naturally producing. And so, you know, I told my husband, I said, I planted those seeds out there. It's really hot summer this year, and I need you to water them. So it was asking him to be accountable for my actions, right? And then he didn't do it. So I got angry, right? Why didn't you water our garden? And then I realized that there was a lesson within it, that I needed to understand the lesson about this, and that it's not for anybody else to follow through with my actions or with my intent, but myself. Okay? And that we can plant, 50 seeds if we want to, but if we don't give it the sunshine and the nourishment and the attention that that plant needs to fully process the natural cycling of its life, we're not going to get 50 fruits off of it or 50 vegetables off of it. We're only going to get the ones that we put our thoughts and our intentions and our actions towards. So utilizing that and understanding commitment, we can intend to commit to 20 different projects in our lives, but a lot of those things are going to fall to the wayside, or we're going to start to feel guilty because we didn't have enough time or create enough time to be able to cultivate that commitment. And so I really want you all to understand, what is your purpose here? What is your why? And to really align your why. So I'll give you an example so you can understand. So I feel like my why is to be here for connection to family, connection to nature, connection to myself, and then educating and living a life of health. So educating myself within health and other people within health. And if my thought or my intention and my action don't fall within that realm of commitment, then I don't do it. I say no. No, I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't do that. And that's one thing we need to practice, is saying no, right? Even with boundaries, no, that is outside of my boundaries. I don't feel comfortable with that. So no, I am not going to commit to that. I'm not going to put myself in that environment because I do not feel safe or I do not feel secure. This is not providing that for me. Okay? And that's okay for us to say no. It's okay for us to understand our why and aligning ourselves with our why and aligning ourselves to what we're committing to. And it's okay for us to, explore the option of that possibility, and then realizing that, no, this is not something that I feel is within my capacity. I don't feel like this is aligning with health. So I'm not going to commit to it. And it's okay. So I want you all to ask yourselves, because reflection is part of our process of cycling. Reflect upon these lessons that we talked about tonight. And ask yourself, am I grounded and present within myself, in my now? Do I have healthy boundaries? And do I hold myself accountable in everything that I do? Every thought that I have, every intention that I make, and every action that I take? Okay. I lost the button. Perfect. So does anybody have any questions, anything that they want to share? Or do you want to just finish it off with a brief meditations, a bit of Reiki for yourselves? What are you all thinking?
Could you possibly put up that last slide again?
Screen share. Screen share. Is that good?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Amanda. All of the women are very grateful, sharing their love with you, sending you lots of love. And I know that this is definitely, maybe even, I know this is some of you ladies' first time in the Chakra series, but it's definitely going to propel you into, that next chapter. Amanda, are you still there? Your face is frozen. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not.
Oh, there you are.
Still there.
She's back. She's back. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so does anybody have any questions? Do they have any experiences that they want to share? Should we check out the comments here?
I have a question. This is Chris.
Yes, Chris, go ahead.
First, I've been very quiet because I can only do one thing on my phone at a time. So I just want to say thank you for all that you've shared with us. It's been really great. But my question is, how do you get to the point where you know what your why is?
So a great place. So Layla explained the why process to me verbally. However, I don't know if you know Sheila Hinton.
No.
She has a Facebook page or a Facebook group called How to Brand Yourself Like a Pro. Is that right, Layla?
No.
And
yeah.
she has an awesome just explanation, and it comes from a marketing factor. I am personally not a marketer, but it created such a great impact on me that I would encourage you even just
we can share that in the group. I'm sure they'll let us share that training.
For sure.
One of the things, we talk about our whys. You've probably heard it before, and we gravitate to, our family and our children. But one of the ways that I was able to dig deeper into my why was really just asking myself, when I have that, when that's accomplished, when, I know that I've provided that safety and that health for my family and my children, what does that mean for me? And I'll bring it back to, again, like Amanda was saying with the sweat lodge, what does that mean for you? And when you are a speaker and you're creating workshops like this, like me and Amanda had visualized these workshops long ago. And when you are speaking and empowering and sharing that vision of health, what will that mean for you? And it just brings it back to a much more tangible, like it becomes something you can actually process rather than just some metaphoric, up in the air why that you're constantly looking out after. And it really gets you in touch with why is your why, and brings it back in line with you. But yeah, we can share that. One of the simple questions is just, if all this didn't matter, if money, debts and bills, and if it was all gone and you were just left standing, what would you be doing? What would you be focusing your time on? Where would your energy go? Where would your time be invested? What would you build? What would you create? And asking yourself these questions, a lot, asking lots of questions to yourself to uncover that truth behind why you're here and what your true purpose and intention is. But that's a great question. It's probably something that we could probably do an entire 90-minute session about redefining your why. Good idea. Taking one.
Another one, sorry, Chris, before we move forward, another one that I really like to always ask is, what are your motivating factors? So like, what sparks you in life, right? So, what excites you? Because that's also part of your why.
And I can just say, experience that spark as I was sitting here watching Amanda, my friend, who I saw this amazing power and all of these powerful lessons within her, and seeing her share them, seeing her step into her truth and own it, and the ripple effects that it had on, women like Jacqueline, who are here and were in tears because of something that Amanda said. And so it was like this fire inside of me just reminded me, that's part of who I am, is helping people find their truth and helping people create those ripples for other people by truly doing what they were meant to do. So yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. Jacqueline said she feels scattered with that question because she has so many passions. I would bring yourself back to your sit spot and, think about that and think about what really ignites you.
Or serves you, right? What really creates those powerful lessons for you? Like what passion creates that learning for you? Because like I encouraged within all of you to understand that we are here to learn, and that's simply what we're here to do. So trying to align yourself with understanding which of those passions creates that learning, essential learning experience for you. Chris, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask?
No, I'm just trying to wrap my head around all of this. If everybody's done with that slide, we could see your pretty faces again.
Yeah, come on back. Come on back.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Denise. Layla, can you unmute her? Oh, there. Oh.
You are muted. You are unmuted by the host. Yay! I did wanted to talk at the beginning, but I couldn't unmute me either. So I did want to share something really, really important. I first want to thank each of you. Beautiful lessons learned from this tonight, and especially you, Amanda. I learned from Layla, Amanda. There are a few other beautiful ladies who spoke about their lessons and their experiences. I learned from each person who spoke. I just never had that happen. And I've been hanging around this little gadget for a while now, trying to figure out what's going to work for me. And tonight, when you asked us to choose an area of our body, I assumed it was pain or aches and pains to put our hands. And I was trying to figure out, I have so many of them. Where am I going to put these hands? I did go to my hips. I went to my back, my shoulder. I was led to my ears. And when I got there, my ears itself wasn't hot. My ears got hot from my hands. My hands were giving off this lot of heat. And in it, I was hearing a sound. And the sound I was hearing within my own hands was this beautiful, beautiful sound. that if I took my hands away, I didn't hear it, and put them back, I heard it. So all I can think about was, silly, don't you remember that that's what all this is about? I think I've been wanting to do too many things at one time. And what you got to do is focus on one aspect or one thing or one passion that you really, really want or you want to learn about. And I did ask at the very, very beginning for a lot of different things, but one of the things on the top of my list was to hear. I want to be able to hear what I need to hear for myself within, and I was going in all the routes like, I didn't think it would be actually hearing. Intuition, discernment, self-knowledge, along with self-love, self-knowledge, self-understanding, all that. And tonight it was like, gee, Denise, really, it was that simple. It was so hard, yet it was that simple that I discovered it right here, right now, tonight with that. So thank you immensely for having this, Amanda. I love you.
I love you too, Denise. That's awesome. Yes, that's a great point too, Denise. Like, so many people think that things are so complex, but really it's so simple. And if we can bring it back to that simplicity, it just creates so much more ease and comfort and harmony within our lives.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Awesome. I think everybody's filled up to their brim, you know. So I think this is a great place to finish off. We're going to end the medicine wheel cycling right now with many, many grateful notes of gratitude to each and every one of you. For being here, for sharing, like Denise said, from healing with one another, from learning from one another, and just being open and honest with ourselves and with each other. And I'm just thankful for even Layla for creating this group so that so many of us can find our truth, can speak our truth, and live within that truth, and share that with all of you, because that's how we truly heal. So thank you so much. You know, like Layla said, she's going to post the replays of the previous ones. The next one will be in a month's time. I don't have the date offhand, but it will be in November. We'll let you all know. And the next one's really going to be focused on exploring our sensuality and our sexuality, and understanding those boundaries within that. So, you know, if you're up to it and you want to dabble more into this chakra therapy, understanding our foundation of chakra, make sure you join us no, it wouldn't be November, it would be October. Sorry, baby brain. Woo! But yeah, we'll see you in October. And I'm looking forward to it because it's, again, something that wasn't really taught to me. And it's essential for many of us to have healthy relationships with ourselves and healthy sexual relationships with our significant others or the people that we play with, because that's what sexuality is all about. It's just an adult form of play. So I'm looking forward to that and can't wait to share all that info with all you lovely ladies. So thanks so much.
Awesome. Celebrate. Love you, ladies. Thank you so much for hanging out here, watching the replay. Make sure you give Amanda lots of love. Find her on Facebook. Connect her, because she is definitely an amazing, amazing lady. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Stay plugged in to the Women's Connection. Keep your eye out for events that are popping up, talking circles, and yes, I'm definitely excited about this sexuality topic. It's one that we're often told not to talk about. So I like when we can talk about things that we're not supposed to talk about. That's just me breaking the rules all the time. All right. Peace. Love.
That's her enjoying her bad side.
Oh my God. I went out tonight. night.
Love you.
All right.
Bye.
Hey,
Love
Liz.
you.